Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. In today's episode, we're entering the world of storytelling, and we're going to be breaking down a short story from my book, Built for More: 101 Short Stories, Essays, and Insights to Improve Your Communication Skills, currently available on Amazon. If you resonate with today's short story, I recommend that you check out the book in the description box and the pinned comment right on below. The short story that we're going to be breaking down is how to write good short stories. This is one of those 4D concepts that we have going on. Have you ever heard of Stephen King before? He is a very prolific author in terms of writing horror novels, very scary stuff. And he had a very simple advice for anyone who wants to begin writing and begin getting paid for it. He said, learn to write short stories. The same thing with George R.R. Martin, aka the guy who created Game of Thrones. He had the same exact advice. Learn how to write short stories. The reason why is because once you're capable of telling short stories, it becomes much easier to understand the rhythm of how storytelling works. You understand how to create characters, how to create conflicts, how to create lessons from your stories, and eventually you can expand from there. Writing stories is a lot like going to the gym. If you're a skinny person, you're not going to go to the gym for the first time and try to bench press 300 pounds. Instead, if you're smart, you're going to start off with the bar. And you're not just going to skip through the steps with the bar. Instead, you're going to make sure that you have the perfect form. The more that you maximize the form of the bar, that is when you add on more weight. And eventually, you work your way up. Same concept with short stories. Within this book, I give a very simple tip. Have some rules. And the reason that you want rules is because it helps you maximize your creativity. One of the rules that I set within Built for More is that most of these short stories should have at least 1,000 words. It should hover around that range. That's my formula. I don't break that formula. So most of these entries are within the 1,000 words to 1,050 words range. And you may be like, man, I want to experiment, man. I'm this creative beast. I want to just, I don't need rules. Yes, you do. One incorrect assumption that we make is that we believe that rules are going to take away our creativity, while in reality, rules are going to inspire our creativity. When you don't have any rules, then it becomes very difficult for you to stay focused and for you to stay on track. But if you have certain rules that you can put into your piece, now there's some guidance that the mind has. Once the mind digests the rules, that's when it's like, okay, now I can have fun. So with the rule that you assign for yourself, don't think that it's going to take away your amount of possibilities. Instead, it's going to keep you on track and you're going to be able to tell better tales. Armani, what kind of rule should I have? That's really up to you. I do recommend that you play around with the word count. Something about the word count, if you have a rough understanding in regards to it, it's very similar to a productive person setting a timer. They set the timer and then they do all their productive work. And something about it, they just know that there's some numbers that they can lean back on. So something about the word count is a great way to get started with short stories. 1,000, even though it may seem easy, it's not easy. Naturally, we want to write more words than that. So me doing 1,000 words is not something that I recommend for a beginner, unless you're up for it. because it requires you to trim away the fat a lot more. So I recommend somewhere around 2,500 if you can get a grasp for that. And maybe down the line, you can reduce it even more to 1,000 to not write a short story, but to write a short story. And the next thing that you want to do, in addition to the rules, is you want to keep on practicing. Wait a minute, Armani, I mean, these are some basic tips. You're telling me to have a rule and practice, but how do I create a plot? How do I create a narrative and such? This is something that you don't want too much guidance on, because when you have too much guidance in regards to how to create a narrative and a plot, then you stop using your imagination. So what you just want to do is you want to keep practicing every single day. Or if you can't even do every single day, another great way to do it is 3 times a week. If you could do it 3 times a week, now you're starting to build a rhythm. And each time that you're getting into these entries, the more that you're capable of experimenting and trying new things. See, one of the unpopular opinions that I have is that mentors, they're overrated. I believe mentors are very much needed for hard skills fields where the uncertainty needs to be reduced. But I believe mentors are very destructive for creative fields where the uncertainty needs to be raised. So each time that you are repeating the stories from the rules that you have set, each time you're embracing uncertainty. You're like, come on, uncertainty, meet me. Let's make eye contact with one another, because through uncertainty is how we feel inspired in order to create a brilliant tale. So you're creating rules, you're putting in the repetitions. And the third tip that I have is to consume your content back. Now, the reason that you want to consume your content back is because this is how you develop a feel for storytelling. See, this is how we assess whether someone's a master or not. Whenever we're saying, oh, this guy is great, there's some sort of rhythm that they're working with. Like if you're, let's say, watching basketball and you see Steph Curry, you see like how he has this bounce to him, you could be like, okay, well, this guy, he's great. You see Michael Jackson videos and you see him dancing away, there's that rhythm to his step, and you're like, man, that is great. Well, you build that rhythm, that feel for storytelling when you're consuming your content back. Now, here's a little pro tip for you. You want to introduce a gap before you read your content back. And the bigger the gap, the better off that you are. And what I mean by this gap is when you read back your very, very, very old writing, that's when you begin to approach this piece with a more objective lens. Let's say you wrote a story yesterday about the day that I met a pimp, and then you read it back today. You're going to be viewing it a little too much from the subjective self. You're not going to be as objective as you possibly can be. But let's say you wrote this short story the day that I met a pimp 1 year ago. The gap has been increased, and now you're reading it back. You're going to approach this piece with a more objective lens, which allows you to see, whoa, I did this great. Whoa, I did not do this great. And this only speeds up your learning curve. So through repetition, you're eventually going to build a backlog. And from that backlog, you'll be able to introduce more and more gaps as you're consuming your content back. So these are some tips in order to tell better short stories, and more specifically, write better short stories, create rules, practice, and consume your content back. We don't need to make it more complicated than that, because whenever we make it complicated, then chances are we are not going to be consistent. So go ahead and practice your short story telling skills. This is a golden era in terms of content creation. People are building empires with the tiny tale. This is one of those fields where you maximize impact by thinking small. So level up your short story telling game. And if you want to learn more about how to improve your communication skills, be sure to check out Built for More. I'll drop the links in the description box, the pinned comment, or you can go straight to Amazon and grab your copy today. Thank you very much for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, and I will catch you next time.